Collected a parlay with total odds of 8. Let's break it down. First pick, Egypt versus Russia, and honestly I think a lot of people are still massively overrating the current Russian national team just because they remember the old unbeaten streak and those blowout wins over teams like Nicaragua and Zambia. But personally, I feel like Karpin's squad is nowhere near its best level right now, and this match could easily become one of the toughest tests Russia has faced recently, simply because of the combination of factors involved. It's an away game, difficult climate, hostile atmosphere, and most importantly, an opponent that's actually excellent shape right now. So I'll start with Egypt, because I think many people seriously underestimate how organized and uncomfortable this team currently is. In World Cup qualifying, they absolutely destroyed almost everyone. 26 points out of 30, and a goal difference of 20-2. Those are insane numbers at international level. And it's not just about the attack either. The main strength is the defense. Egypt play extremely disciplined football, stay compact, and barely allow any real chances. They even managed to hold Spain to a 0-0 draw in a match friendly by using their trademark low block and patience. Yeah, they opened up too much against Croatia once and lost 2-4. But honestly, that only showed they fully understand open football doesn't suit them. So at home against Russia, I expect a very pragmatic but still confident performance from the Pharaohs, especially considering the motivation. For Egypt, this is a serious rehearsal before the World Cup. Plus, nobody forgot the defeat against Russia back at the 2018 World Cup. And of course, we have to talk about Salah and Marmoush separately, because those are players capable of deciding matches even when the game itself isn't spectacular. Salah may not be fully fit after this injury, but he'll almost certainly play, and at home he will be treated like the superstar he is. Guys, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post match breakdowns every single day and always try to keep my subscribers in pro. I'm also always open to fair criticism and your own betting opinions in the comments. I read all of them. Guys, here's my Telegram and my stats. I work as transparently and honestly as possible. I even pay taxes as an individual entrepreneur. I am one of the few in this space who actually works openly and fairly. The link is in the description below. And this is exactly where Russia's problems begin, because the current Karpin side simply doesn't look complete. That unbeaten run is over, and with it the illusion of stability disappeared too. Over their last 4 games, Russia only managed one difficult win against Nicaragua 3-1, and even there, the performance wasn't convincing. Karpin's experiments are starting to work against the team now. No stable core, constant rotation, new combinations every game, and several key absences. Safonov is out, which is massive because he was often the one saving the team in difficult moments. Chukavin is unavailable too, Vorobyov is missing, and after the domestic cup matches, some players probably will not even be fully ready physically. Against this backdrop, Egypt simply looked far more organized and stable, especially at home. Cairo is an extremely difficult place to play. The support is insane, the weather conditions are heavy, and the tempo of the game becomes very uncomfortable. And lately, Russia haven't even looked convincing at home against weaker opponents. Another important point is the tactical setup. I actually don't think Egypt will completely park the bus here. At home, the Pharaohs will want to show themselves too. Their attack genuinely works, averaging 2 goals per match in World Cup qualifying. And Russia are currently too unstable defensively to keep a clean sheet in these conditions, especially without Safonov. But at the same time, I also don't believe Russia finished without chances. Against African national teams, Russia usually play fairly open and entertaining games. We've already seen 2-2 with Kenya, 1-1 with Nigeria, and several high-scoring matches even against weaker sides. So a Russian goal is absolutely possible too, especially if Egypt take the lead and start playing more free. But overall, in terms of structure and quality, the Pharaohs simply look stronger and more stable right now. So for the parlay, I'm comfortably taking the Egypt team total over 1. And if we are talking about riskier option, I really like 1x plus over 1.5 goals at odds of 2. Second pick, Ireland versus Qatar. And here I found another really interesting angle, because a lot of people are somehow underestimating the current form of these teams and only looking at Qatar's status as a World Cup participant. But if you dig a little deeper, the picture actually looks pretty clear to me. I think Ireland at home are capable of delivering a very strong performance, and the game itself could easily become fairly high-scoring. I'll start with the host because despite that 2-3 defeat against the Czech Republic in March, I honestly don't feel like this Irish side is in crisis at all. Quite the opposite actually. The team is gradually becoming far more aggressive and alive in attack. Ireland have started playing braver football, creating more chances and using space much better offensively. Sure, the 5-0 against Grenada isn't some massive achievement, but even against stronger opposition, the team has looked interesting. There was a 3-2 against Hungary, a very solid 2-0 against Portugal, and most importantly, Ireland currently feel very confident in the Aviva Stadium. 3 straight home games unbeaten, and the key thing is that the team now attack with much more intensity. And Parrott is a huge factor here. Right now, he genuinely looks like the leader of this attack. 6 goals in these last 9 matches is a very solid return. Plus, Ireland at home always play emotional. Aggressive pressing, wide attacks, quick transitions, especially against opponents that don't enjoy high-tempo football. And Qatar right now look exactly like the type of team that could struggle badly with that intensity. And here comes the key point of this match for me. Qatar had a huge break without proper competitive football. Their March fixtures were postponed, meaning this will basically be their first real match of 2026. And when national teams spend a long time without games, especially against European opposition, it almost always affects organization and decision-making speed. Yeah, Qatar still have talented players. Afif Al-Moaz Al-Haidos, experienced and well-connected attackers. But the problem is that their recent performances have looked extremely flat. Winless streak, 0-3 against Tunisia, lost to Palestine, struggles even against Zimbabwe. And most importantly, Qatar usually struggle badly against organized European teams capable of imposing physical football and pressure. Ireland are exactly that kind of team, especially at home. The head-to-head history also suggests this could be difficult for Qatar. Back in 2021, Ireland absolutely destroyed them 4-0 at the Aviva. And statistically, not much has changed since then. Ireland still play aggressive at home, while Qatar still struggle away against physically strong opponents. Yes, the hosts do have some injuries and absences, but I don't think that becomes critical in this type of match. The squad depth is still enough to maintain a good level. And someone like Jack Mayland already earned a huge opportunity after this hat-trick against Grenada. Plus, Hallgrimsson is already building this team with the future Nations League campaign in mind, so motivation will be extremely high. Another thing, I don't think this becomes a close game either. Qatar are capable of counter-attacking, while Ireland rarely play cautious football at home. The host will push and create chances, and the visitors should get some space themselves in transition. But overall, in terms of quality, physical condition, and sharpness, Ireland simply looks superior right now, especially at home. So for the parlay, I'm comfortably taking 1x plus over 1.5 goals. And if we are talking about a riskier option, I really like Ireland -1 handicap at odds of 2. Another game I broke down more as a single, but it can absolutely be added to the parlay too. Casa versus Torrense. And honestly, I found a very interesting angle here, because after Torrense won the Portuguese Cup, a lot of people automatically started backing them again. But personally, I feel like this match will be much harder for them than it looks at first glance. And overall, I'm expecting an extremely tense and cautious game, where everything could be decided by a single moment or even one mistake. The first leg showed that perfectly. A 0-0 draw was absolutely fair. Both teams played very carefully, barely took risks, and focused much more on not conceding than on attacking. Yes, Torrense gained control after the opponent's red card, and more corners and more pressure. But even with the extra man, they still couldn't break Casa down. And to me, that's a very important signal, because if they couldn't convert their advantage even in that situation, it will be even harder now away from home, especially considering how much energy they spent in the Portuguese Cup final. 120 minutes against Sporting is an enormous physical and emotional load. Yeah, the victory was historic and the emotions were incredible, but teams often experience a drop-off after matches like that, and I genuinely think it could affect them here, especially because the first game showed these teams are fairly even overall. Casa, meanwhile, spent the whole week calmly preparing specifically for the second leg, and I think at home they will look much more aggressive than they did in the first match, because last week almost nothing worked for them offensively. Only 2 shots on target, very few dangerous moments, and then Rosses got sent off. Yet even in such a poor performance, they still held onto the result and kept the tie alive. At home though, the situation is completely different. Yes, Casa's overall statistics look bad. No wins in 12 of the last 13 matches and 6 straight home games without a victory. But it's important to understand most of these matches came in the Premier League against much stronger opposition. The pressure here is completely different. The price of mistakes is huge, which is why I really don't expect open football. Especially because all the numbers point towards a low-scoring game. Average total goals in head-to-heads is only 1.67. In 2 of the last 3 meetings, the teams didn't even go over 2.5 goals, and both teams scored happened only once ever. Current form pushes toward that same scenario too. Casa scored only 5 goals in their last 10 matches, one of the weakest attacks in the league during this stretch. Torrense's numbers are slightly better, but they also mainly rely on discipline and defense. 5 clean sheets in their last 10 matches, and just 0.7 goals conceded per game on average. So from the beginning, this feels like a classic nervous playoff game where the first goal decided everything. Another factor is that Torrense could be emotionally drained after the cup thrilled. That happens a lot after huge upsets. Teams release too much emotion and then struggle to maintain concentration levels. Casa meanwhile have lived under pressure all season and now have a chance to save it through this home game. So honestly, I don't see any major advantage for the visitors. If anything, because of freshness, home field and calmer preparation, the hosts may even look slightly preferable. But I absolutely don't believe in a goal fest here. These stakes are too high, and statistically both teams are naturally cautious right now. So for the parlay, I'm comfortably taking Casa draw no bet. And for the crazy odds version, I'm going with 1x plus under 2.5 goals at odds of 2.